Hello, kids. Today is part 2 of Morgaff's Revenge. It would be a good idea to listen to that episode. However, if you haven't listened to it, here's what happened. Snaggleton was attacked by skeletons. Brave Goethe fought them off with her frying pan. But then, a huge army of skeletons arrived. The heroes had to retreat to Sir Chucklenugget's castle, pulling up the drawbridge just in time. Now they're surrounded. The skeletons are building a giant machine to break in. How will they escape? Coming up in this episode, Sparky invents a machine to destroy the skeletons' siege engines.
We can build a catapult and hurl rocks at that thing, and at the skeletons too.
The skeletons are too powerful. But then a swarm of flies deliver a mysterious message.
The answer to your troubles deep. In blasted dunes, secrets sleep.
Hope lies in the blasted dunes, but they need to get past the skeleton army.
I'm going to launch over the skeleton army with the catapult.
Launch us? We'll be splattered like bug jam.
What crazy idea did Sparky come up with? But first, a birthday message to a very important Patreon supporter. He's performed with us many times and aced the BKFK quiz. It's happy birthday, Jude! Jude, we hope you enjoyed your personalized birthday story as much as we enjoyed making it for you. Happy birthday. Now, let's hear who the heroes of this episode are.
Hi, my name is Kaya. I'm 8 years old. I come from Cavite, Philippines. What I like to do is making paper squishies, swimming, and hanging out with my friends.
Hi, my name is Adeline and I'm 8 years old. I'm from California and I like playing sports and playing with my little sister.
My name is Nura and I am 7 years old and I live in the USA and my favorite thing is to read.
My name is Omar. I'm 11 years old and I'm from the USA and I love video games and sports.
My name is Ali Sadiq and I am 11 years old. I'm from Nigeria but I live in America and I love food.
Well done, valiant performers. Morgaff's Revenge, Part 2, The Fly's Message. The air inside Chucklenugget's castle was thick with tension. Outside, the skeleton army worked tirelessly. The sounds of chopping and hammering echoing ominously. The Snaggletonians watched from the castle as the siege engine began to take shape. A monstrous wooden ramp aimed directly at their walls.
We can't just sit here and wait for them to break in.
Sparky Flarkbottom declared.
I have an idea. We need to fight back.
What do you have in mind, Sparky?
Asked Whittlethorpe.
A catapult.
Sparky announced.
We can build a catapult and hurl rocks at that thing, and at the skeletons too.
It was a desperate plan, but it was a plan. Working together, using bits of old furniture, strong ropes from the stables, and Sir Chucklenugget's spare shields for the bucket, they constructed a surprisingly sturdy catapult in the castle courtyard. Snotbeard and Grumblegut, with their immense strength, easily found large rocks to use as ammunition.
All right, let's give those boneheads a taste of Snaggleton stone.
Grumblegut roared, loading a boulder into the catapult's bucket. The first rock soared through the air and smashed into the siege engine, sending splinters of wood flying. A cheer went up from the castle walls. They fired again. And again. Sparky showed them how to adjust the catapult's arm to change the range, sometimes aiming for the siege engine, and sometimes sending rocks crashing into the army of skeletal workers. They slowed the skeleton's progress, but it didn't stop them. There were simply too many. For every section of the siege engine they damaged, the skeletons quickly repaired it. And then, to their dismay, a new group of skeletons on the other side of the castle began constructing a second siege engine.
Oh, for crying out loud!
Sir Chucklenugget exclaimed.
There's too many of them!
Despair began to set in. The Snaggletonians were hot, exhausted, and their supply of rocks was running out. As the afternoon sun beat down, tiny black specks began to appear in the air. Flies.
Flies!
Snickerfang complained, swatting at one buzzing near his ear.
Where did all these buzzy butters come from?
More and more flies appeared, buzzing annoyingly around their heads, landing on their food, and generally making everyone irritable. They swatted and shooed, but the swarm only grew larger, thicker. Then, the most extraordinary thing happened. The countless flies began to move as one, swirling and coming together. Before the astonished eyes of the Snaggletonians, the buzzing mass formed into the shape of a tall, thin, human figure, entirely made of flies. The fly figure spoke, its voice a chorus of 1,000 tiny buzzes, forming a strange, rhythmic rhyme.
The answer to your troubles deep. In blasted dunes, secrets sleep. A wrong was done, a power astray. Make it right to win the day. More danger comes on silent tread, unless the ancient curse is dead.
And just as suddenly as it had formed, the fly figure dissolved. The swarm of flies dispersing in all directions, vanishing as quickly as they had appeared. All except one. A single green fly landed directly on the tip of Sir Chucklenugget's nose. It sat there for a moment, then flew a short distance towards the east, towards the blasted dunes, before circling back to land on his nose again. It repeated this several times.
It's trying to lead me!
Sir Chucklenugget exclaimed, his eyes wide.
The blasted dunes! We have to go there!
But how, Sir Chucklenugget?
Snickerfang asked, pointing at the skeletal army surrounding them.
There's no way through!
Stanky, the little patchwork creature who had been quietly observing, suddenly piped up.
I think I have an idea.
He scurried over to Sparky and began whispering excitedly, pointing towards the catapult and then towards the sky. Sparky's eyes lit up.
Stinky, you're a genius!
She turned to Sir Chucklenugget.
Gather a small team, Sir Knight. While you do that, I need to invent something quickly.
Sir Chucklenugget nodded.
All right, volunteers. We need a small, brave group to venture to the blasted dunes.
Immediately, every single Snaggletonian stepped forward.
We can't all go.
Sir Chucklenugget said, his voice filled with emotion.
Some must stay to defend the castle.
After a quick, hushed discussion, a team was chosen. Trolla for her strength, Snickerfang for his sneakiness and ability to find things, and Sir Chucklenugget himself for his bravery and leadership. Soon, they gathered near the catapult. Sparky was there, holding 3 strange contraptions made of silk and ropes.
What's this then, Sparky?
Trolla asked, poking one of the silky bundles.
This is a sky sail,
Sparky said proudly.
my latest invention. I'm going to launch you over the skeleton army with the catapult.
Launch us?
Snickerfang squeaked.
We'll be splattered like bug jam.
Sparky grinned.
Not with these. You hold onto the sky sail, and it will catch the wind and float you down gently, like a giant soft leaf.
It was a wild idea, but it was their only hope. The remaining Snaggletonians, Grumblegut, Snotbeard, Whistlethorpe, Lexi, Jinx, Silvarus, Gerta, Granny, Gigglesnort, and all the rest promised to keep defending the castle. Grumblegut and Snotbeard wound the catapult arm back as far as it would go, the ropes creaking under the strain. Trolla, Sir Chucklenugget, and Snickerfang, each clutching a sky sail tightly, squeezed into the catapult's bucket.
Ready?
Sparky yelled.
Ready?
They replied, their voices a mix of fear and determination.
Launch!
The catapult arm sprang forward. The 3 adventurers were flung high into the air, soaring up, 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 over the castle walls, over the surprised, upturned faces of the skeleton army. For a terrifying moment, they began to fall down again. Then, with a jerk and a whoosh, their sky sails billowed open. They floated, drifting gently on the wind, sailing far above the army. The skeletons below looked like tiny, angry ants. Eventually, they landed with soft thuds in a field far beyond the reach of the skeleton army. The little green fly, which had patiently waited, buzzed around Sir Chucklenugget's head and then darted off towards the east.
Well, there's no time to waste,
Sir Chucklenugget said, dusting himself off and grinning at his companions.
Now to the blasted dunes.
And the 3 heroes, guided by the persistent little fly, began their perilous journey. Let's take a look at some interesting words from that episode. Siege engine. The siege engine began to take shape, a monstrous wooden ramp aimed directly at their walls. A siege engine is a very big machine that armies used a long, long time ago to attack castles or walled cities. It's like a giant tool built to help break down walls or get soldiers over them during a battle. In this story, it was a huge ramp the skeletons were building. A catapult. Sparky announced, "A catapult! We can build a catapult and hurl rocks at that thing." A catapult is a big machine that can throw things very far, like rocks or other objects. It works by using a strong arm that snaps forward to launch whatever is in its bucket. Constructed. They constructed a surprisingly sturdy catapult in the castle courtyard. When you construct something, it means you build it or put its parts together to make it. So, they built the catapult from different pieces. And lastly, dissolved. The fly figure dissolved, the swarm of flies dispersing in all directions. When something dissolves, it means it breaks apart or melts away and disappears, often into a liquid or a gas, or in this case, into individual flies again.